So, you're building an app for kids? That's fantastic. It's a huge opportunity. But let's be real, it also comes with a pretty unique set of rules. If you get it right, you can build an amazing, trusted brand for families. But if you get it wrong, you could be looking at an app suspension. In this explainer, we're going to cut through the confusion around Google Play's Families policy and give you what you need to build an app that's safe, compliant, and ultimately a huge success.
You've spent countless hours on your app, right? But here's the question. Have you thought about all the little traps in Google's Families policy? This is way more than just checking a box. It's about protecting what you've built and creating something parents can actually trust. So let's make sure you're on the right side of the rules.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to break this down into 5 simple parts. First, we'll talk about why this policy is such a big deal. Then, we'll get into the specifics of declaring your audience, actually building the compliant app, and, of course, how to make money the right way. And finally, we'll wrap up with a quick checklist of common mistakes you'll want to avoid. Ready? Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Think of yourself as a gatekeeper of a digital playground. Google provides the space, but you're the one building the cool stuff in it. Your app is a direct reflection of your commitment to keeping kids safe. And Google's Families policy? Well, that's your instruction manual.
And the most important rule in that manual is this. It's all on you. Seriously, Google is making it crystal clear that the responsibility is on your shoulders to make sure your app is safe and follows all the relevant laws, like COPPA and GDPR. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a requirement.
Now let's talk about probably the single most important click you'll make in the Google Play console, declaring your target audience. This is not just some administrative task. It is a critical decision that will dictate pretty much everything about how you build and monetize your app.
You've basically got 2 paths. Path 1, you target only children. This means you're playing by the strictest rules. No tracking identifiers, no unapproved third-party code, period. Path 2, you aim for a mixed audience. This gives you a bit more flexibility, but, and this is a big but, you have to use a neutral age screen and be incredibly careful not to collect data from kids or anyone whose age you don't know.
And look, whichever path you choose, don't even think about trying to game the system. Google has absolutely zero tolerance for misrepresenting your app's audience. They will not hesitate to pull your app or even suspend your entire account. The message is simple. Play by the rules or don't play at all.
So you've picked your lane. Now it's time to actually start building. This is where we get into the real nuts and bolts of what a compliant app looks like. Honestly, you should treat it like a creative challenge. How do you make something awesome and fun while staying inside the lines?
We're going to tackle this in 4 key areas. First, the actual content of your app. Second, how you handle data. Third, the third-party code you use. And fourth, some rules for special features you might be including.
Okay, first up, the basics. Your app needs to be more than just a wrapper for a website or a bunch of affiliate links. It has to provide real value, and obviously, the content needs to be appropriate for kids. And I know I sound like a broken record, but you have to be completely honest when you answer every single question in the Play console.
All right, this next one is a huge deal, so listen closely. You absolutely positively cannot collect or transmit any of these persistent identifiers from a child. Why? Because this is the kind of data that can be used to track a kid across the internet, building a profile of them, and that is a massive privacy no-no. Google is drawing a very hard line here.
And while we're on the subject of data, want to know a child's precise location? Nope, can't do it. If your app is solely for children, you are not allowed to request location permission or collect that data. It's a simple black and white rule that's all about protecting kids. Now think of your app as a house that you're building. You're responsible for everything inside of it, even the stuff you bought from somewhere else. If you use a third-party tool, say for analytics or for logging in, you have to check their terms of service. If their own rules say it's not for use with kids, then you can't have it in your app. Simple as that.
And what if you're building something with some cool bells and whistles? If you're using augmented reality, you need to add a safety warning about, paying attention to the real world. And if it's a social app, you've got to include reminders about online safety and require something like a password and adult action before a kid can share personal info. So you've built this amazing, compliant app. It's safe, it's fun, fantastic. Now for the big question. How do you actually make money from it without getting into trouble? It's a bit of a tightrope walk, for sure, but it's totally possible. The key is to always put the user's experience first.
This right here, this is your guiding star for all things monetization. No tricks, no deception. Try to see it through a kid's eyes. Is it perfectly clear what's part of the app and what's an advertisement? If there is any confusion at all, you're probably doing something wrong. In fact, Google is super specific about certain ad formats that are just completely banned for kids. Things like ad walls that block everything, ads you can't close after 5 seconds, ads that pop up the second you launch the app, and ads that try to blend in with the game. Just avoid them.
Let me paint a picture for you. A kid is having a blast playing your game. They're right in the middle of the action, and then, bam! A giant ad takes over the whole screen. They can't play, they can't get out, they're just stuck. That's an ad wall, and it's a huge violation.
And then there's this tactic, which is just, well, it's sneaky. You know, a tiny little X button that when you tap it just opens another ad, or an ad that pops up right where you know someone is about to tap to play. That's not just bad design, it's a manipulative tactic, and it has absolutely no place in an app for kids.
And it's not just how you show the ads, it's also what's in them. This list is pretty much common sense, but it's a good reminder of what you absolutely cannot advertise to children. The bottom line is, just keep the ad content clean, safe, and age-appropriate.
And this is a massive technical requirement, so please pay close attention. You can't just plug in any old ad network. You must use one from Google's approved list of self-certified ads SDKs. Why? Because Google has already checked these networks and they've all promised to follow the family's policies. It's an extra layer of safety for everyone.
We've covered a ton of ground, and we are almost at the finish line. Before you hit publish, let's just do one final review to make sure you're not about to accidentally step on a policy landmine. Think of this as your final pre-flight check. Here they are, the top reasons apps run into trouble. Things like having inappropriate content, using banned tech, showing mature ads to kids, or even just having a misleading store listing that says it's for kids when it's really not. Steer clear of these, and you're in a much, much better position.
So that's the Google Family's policy in a nutshell. I know it can feel like a lot, but it's not impossible to navigate. You really do have the power to create something that's not just profitable, but also safe and genuinely good for kids. The only question left is your app ready?